Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious back in the bunker. Purple State Party. Representing common sense in America. Oh, that made it to the lights. I'm a little down right now, so you're going to have to pardon that. It's been a really tough week. Not politics. Life. But one thing that did kind of at least start the week nice was hearing that we got the votes for to recall Gavin Newsom. You know, looks like that's going to be successful. Moving on next to Gascon. Because, I mean, look, I don't mind Democrats, but idiots are idiots. Doesn't matter what party you're with, man. And I'll call out the people, you know, on the right when it's appropriate to, you know. But Gavin's my biggest problem right now because he can't run this state. I mean, you know, this is a guy who's going to be running, by the way. You know, hopefully in the recall election, Earl Weber. He's a Republican. Really like the guy. Met the man personally. Cool dude. You know, enthusiastic. You know, seems to, I don't know, seems to have a little more than Gavin offers. It's probably going to be a Democrat, but, you know, Earl here is bringing up the point that, you know, as of April 1st, here in California, Disneyland will be open, but our schools will be closed. And even if they open the schools, it's going to be this hybrid bullshit that's just going to make it even harder. You know, kids need the routine. 5 days a week, get up, go to school, get up, get out of school. They need to build that routine into their lives because that's what the working life looks like for the most part. You know, Monday through Friday, you get up in the morning, you go to work. That's what I got to do, man. You know, I want to make more videos, man. I have a lot of dreams, but I don't really have hope right now. I'm in a world of sorrow in my own life, but moving on. You know, schools are closed. Disneyland is open because Gavin is reopening the state, because he has no legal right, you know, to even have them closed or have businesses closed. I mean, emergency powers are to be used when cities and counties can't handle a problem. We're way beyond that now with the COVID. You know, we are. I mean, that's why Texas had to lift their big mask mandate, was because they don't really have the authority anymore to make these decisions. You know, kind of like what we're seeing with Biden and executive orders. He's just making decisions. Nobody's voting on it. There's no counterpoint to it. He just signs it and it happens. Well, you can't do that with state emergency powers when there's no state emergency anymore. We don't need the state. If LA County had to get its own supply and do its own vaccinations, I'm sure they could. I'm sure the OC and Riverside, San Diego, all these other counties in California, they can handle the shit now. They know where to go. They know what to do. You know? But the interesting point, big point right here, is we're looking at this picture here. There's a stricter standard for recalling Gavin Newsom than there is for voting in a general election. So let's look at that for a second. What the organizers, the volunteers who collected these signatures have to do is they have to send each and every petition to a third-party verification company that needs to verify that the signatures on the petition are the same that are on the official election rules or DMV records or whatever records they're going to use. So they have to verify the signatures. They've already done this. They've already got enough votes. But what's interesting is that they're clocking in at an 82% success rate. So in other words, 82% of the petitions that have been signed were validated. 82%. That means 18% were not verified. Let's look at the general election. It was much bigger numbers than the California Recall Gavin Newsom effort. The Recall Gavin Newsom effort was you print up a petition at home off the internet, you sign it, and they send it in and verify it. You have time. You could sit there. They give you instructions on what to do. Make sure your signature's the signature that you use in official documents, blah, 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 blah. So they're sitting over you. Or you're doing it in person, and they're standing over you. And they're giving you instructions and reminding you how to sign. And still, 18% of them are being thrown out. So what does that say about the national election? at the very least, 18% of the mail-in ballots were invalid. They wouldn't have survived a verification process. That's why they didn't verify. That's why they didn't verify. Kids can sign their parents' names, whatever you want to do. You can steal your neighbor's ballot. I don't know how it would have changed the election, and that's not really my point. My point is that we never should have done mail-in ballots to begin with. We knew this was going to happen. We knew that one side wouldn't accept it. And why should they? Why should they? Anybody could send in a mail-in ballot, and California did not even verify signatures. Did other states? No. Did other counties? No. Nobody verified mail-in ballots for any sort of validity. But they're going to do it to try to keep their boy, their poster boy, their presidential hopeful. This is who Soros wants to be the president of the United States. A guy who fucked up San Francisco and is fucking up California. That's how it works. I mean, how in the fuck did Gascon fuck up San Francisco so bad, but then they managed to convince people that he was better than Jackie Lacey, which he wasn't. Jackie Lacey had the support of the police. Yeah, there's some bad cops out there. Believe me, I've run into them. I've had my dealing with plenty of bad cops. Plenty. But every single day, I see more good cops. So I tend to side with them. If they want somebody for DA, I think that's probably the way to go. Look what Gascon's doing. No gang enhancements, no gun enhancements. They want to take away your guns, but they're not going to use gun enhancements when people use guns in the commission of a crime. What kind of bullshit is that? Seriously. We're going to hit a few things, try to blaze through this here. Real racism is white liberal trying to convince you that you need to feel lesser than, and that you are oppressed in order to be a real black person. Yeah. Because if they don't keep you oppressed, they can't come around every couple of years and say, we're going to free you from oppression. So it's quite simple. That's why they do it. Cat turd. If you're not following this account, you should. A conservative doesn't like a book, they don't buy it. A liberal doesn't like a book, they get it banned. A conservative doesn't like a social media page, they ignore it. A liberal doesn't like a social media page, they try to get it banned. Liberals equal communism. And we are about as communist in this country as we've ever been. This is ridiculous. I mean, whatever. We're not going to get into particulars on that because we all have our own things that are bothering us. Once was a president who gave the people 1,800 and wanted to send everybody 2,000 more, but the people didn't like his tweets and his skin color, so they sent him away. Yeah. Do we miss him? Yeah, we do. Look, we'll get into this in a second, man. You know, forget about the fact that Bronco here, of course, one of my favorites, always included. You know, Iran and China playing Biden like a fiddle. Yeah. And so are the illegal aliens. I'm sorry, they're illegal. The second they step onto U.S. soil in an improper way, they've committed a crime. That's just the way it is. If you don't, like I've heard on the radio, if you don't like the laws, change the laws. But don't turn around and then say, oh, just break the law if you don't like it. No, it doesn't work that way. Change the law. If you don't like the law, change it. You can't just go out and break it. And a perfect example of that, you know, Texas removed its mask mandate, and Biden called him a Neanderthal. Name calling. Well, I don't care. I've been called a lot worse than a Neanderthal. But meanwhile, he's breaking down the border. And that fucking hole right there, you know what happened? And this, I don't know if this made the national news. I don't know if anybody's even going to see this. But you know what happened? 2 SUVs that had all the seats removed except for the front 2, packed 25 illegal aliens in one car, came speeding through a hole in the wall, ended up on the highway, T-boned by a fucking semi, and 13 of them died. 13 of them died. The other one, the other SUV, caught on fire. Everybody escaped, but caught on fire because he's made it a run for the border to get that amnesty, to get those checks. He's literally offering citizenship and money if you can make it across the border. You have to see. I mean, again, if you want to change immigration law, go for it. Go for it. Come up with common sense, as you like to say, immigration laws, and change it. But don't just tell people run for the border. You know? And the guy telling it doesn't even, he signs, because we're going to get into this right now a little bit, the COVID relief, which wasn't. We're going to see. It wasn't. And if it was COVID relief, why was anything else tacked on? I didn't like it when the Republicans did it. I don't like it when the Democrats do it. One issue, one bill. That is one issue, one bill. But you know, I love this one. You know, here's Radar O'Reilly. What's this? Don't worry, sir. Sign here. Radar O'Reilly. Man, I grew up loving MASH, man. It was one of my favorite shows. Gas prices shooting up faster than Biden vote count at 2 a.m. If people rigged the election, that's what they rigged it for. It's up 66 cents just down the street from me. So from $2.99 to $3.65. I mean, okay. You know, House Democrats just rejected an amendment that would require ICE to be notified if an illegal immigrant tries to buy a gun. But they're fine taking away the gun rights of law-abiding American citizens. I mean, again, if you could explain to me why that's good or necessary, please, I wish somebody would, because I don't see it. Somebody who's not in this country legally wants to buy a gun, and ICE doesn't have to be notified? Really? I don't understand that. But yet, to buy bullets here in California, you have to have a background check. I don't understand it. Biden again, Bronco, you know, whatever. He's stealing Trump's plan. It's not Trump's plan, folks. I mean, let's be honest here. It's the only plan that's available. But the way he's delivering his message is stupid. He's talking about the 4th of July. I celebrated the last 4th of July with friends and family. So, you know, I don't care about your stupid ass plan, buddy. You know, we know what's going on. We know that you guys politicized this from the get-go, and the media played right along. And a lot of things that we're using successfully now to treat COVID are the same things that we were talking about. But when Trump was talking about them, you didn't want them used. So they politicized it. Okay? They have politicized everything. The COVID relief is just a one-sided money grab. Whatever. You know? They were talking about illegal immigration. You know, I guess I got my pictures out of order here and it throws me out of order, but it's been a tough day, man. I had computers crash and it's just bad. But anyhow, you know, part of what Psaki here is saying is that President Trump's immigration policy was inhumane and ineffective. First of all, it's not ineffective because we did not have the same sort of numbers that we're seeing now. Simple. Okay? And at a time when we're trying to keep a virus at bay. Inhumane because Trump was not offering a carrot, only a stick. They didn't come in the same numbers. Right now, the Children's Detention Center, whatever you want to call it, however you want to frickin' label it, it's packed. It's packed. There's no 6-foot social distancing in there. It's packed because they're making a mad dash. You started a mad dash. Biden and his ilk started a mad dash for the border, and it's a catastrophe down there. It is. Look it up. Just go on the internet. You can see them just flooding across the border, driving across, kids showing up with no adults. What are we supposed to do with them? What are we supposed to do with a kid who shows up here? And yes, some of them are coming here for a legitimate try at a better life. But not all of them are. A lot of them are just coming for the checks. A lot of them are coming here smuggling. Anybody who wants to slide through can slide through right now. It's not that hard. A lot of places to hide. A lot of people to get, you know. When the Border Patrol shows up, everybody runs. And as long as you probably have time to hide your drugs and come back from it later. So, you know, it's a good time for all kinds of bad shit to be going down there. Talk about that COVID bill. Boy, I really got these out of order tonight. I really apologize. But, you know, we're looking at some raw numbers here. And I'm not going to go through each one of these, okay? We're going to use one. That makes a lot of sense here. $1.5 billion to Amtrak. I don't understand. COVID relief, I don't understand that. Planned Parenthood, I don't understand that. Okay? Pelosi's home in San Francisco. Fucking wrecked that place, and now we're going to give them money. Okay, let's look at Amtrak. Now, if they came forth and said that we need to provide funding for Amtrak because of ABC and explained it, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it. I'd go like, okay, well, that's what we got to do. No, I've got to bail out the airlines. Got to bail out the Amtrak. Okay, I get it. You want to bail out the cruise industry. So, okay, I get it. But when you stick it in a bill like this, how am I supposed to trust you? How, when only 9% of this goes to stuff labeled for COVID, you know, you could say a lot of the stuff on the list is somehow tied to COVID. I get that. Foreign aid for COVID. Okay, I get that. Illegal alien health services. I don't really understand why we need $15 billion for that. You know, wouldn't it be easier not to have a whole bunch of illegal aliens here, and then maybe it wouldn't cost so much? You know, the welfare, the bail. I get it. But you stuff it all in one bill. You call it the COVID relief bill. You know the Republicans can't swallow all of the bullshit, because I don't even know what some of this stuff is going to. I don't really know how it's used. We've already last year sent out something like $4 trillion to almost the same people. So I don't understand why they need more money now. I don't understand how it's, I know that there's going to be kickbacks and things like that. I know that people are going to profit that probably shouldn't be profiting. But when you hide it in something like this and then go, oh, they're against COVID, and people saying, oh, just sign it, I want my check. Well, this money is going to come from somewhere, and it's going to come back to us in inflation. You know, they're talking about the Republicans, voting against it. Like we just said, because you made it so that it had to be voted against. You tried to include minimum wage in that. You tried to include anything and everything to slide it by. Riders are the death of America. When they add shit onto bills, riders are the death of America. Hey, all right. So, the Daily Show here, Joe Biden delivers a major speech on coronavirus without once pointing to a pillow salesman and saying, get up here and say a few words. Oh, okay. Right. Okay, so, whatever. First of all, Biden wasn't delivering a speech. It was a pre-recorded, staring at cue cards, for God's sakes, man. Jesus Christ. The left is just so... sometimes, and here's the problem, again, the left and the media right here, we're talking about somebody who died after getting a COVID vaccine, okay, and I know somebody that happened to. They got their second dose and they got pneumonia. They don't know if it's connected or not, but whatever. But at the bottom here, Instagram wants to let you know that the vaccines went through many tests for safety and effectiveness. They didn't go through a lot of tests. They were rushed through, and the source is the World Health Organization. The same people who were saying it was no big deal at first, the same people who are trying to absolve China of their responsibility. Okay, sure. PEPE LEPEW, he didn't really get canceled, but to say he's part of the rape culture is just completely wrong. We don't have time to get into it, but I really like this right here because they substituted Biden with PEPE LEPEW. It's just hypocrisy on display. You want to call out hypocrisy, let's call it out. Here Fred's removing PEPE LEPEW's mask, and it's Cuomo. And this person here we're just going to skip that one. George Floyd, we're just going to skip that one. We all know it happened. His family got $27 million. But when you see the whole 15-minute interaction, and you start seeing that he was complaining of not breathing even when he was, standing up and being placed in the car. And here they're saying that it was not a health condition. I mean, health condition, he was loaded on drugs. Supposedly, he was shoving fentanyl up his butt. So, I mean, come on. Let's stop rewriting everything, Let's stop trying to make heroes out of people who don't really deserve it. The guy was in a police car. He started freaking out, and they had to take him out again. What would you have done? What would you have done? So anyhow, one of the big things was I kept reading today about how, Denmark pays their McDonald's employees $22 an hour. This is all the minimum wage thing that the Democrats promised, but they weren't going to deliver. So I wanted to look into it. I wanted to see what the truth is, because they said, oh, they pay the worker's $22 an hour, and they get maternity leave, and they get all this glorious stuff, and a Big Mac only costs 80 cents more. I said, well, okay, well, I'm sure that's great because, but most people don't realize that McDonald's is not a giant company. It's a giant company that has franchises. So those franchises get shafted by work things. This isn't corporate greed. This is simple finances. If it's not worth owning a McDonald's franchise, then somebody's going to lose their business. That's the way it works. But so I wanted to look. Well, what's the other side of the story? The high cost of living in Denmark. Let's look at some of this. See, right here, just real briefly here, because we're running out of time already. As when it comes to the cost of living, excluding rent, because that varies wildly, excluding rent, the cost of living, Denmark is 51% higher than the United States. They rank 7th highest in the world. United States, 33rd. So it's expensive to live there. And can you go there? Well, you have to get a job offer. Oh, okay. So is it easy to get a job or a job offer there? Well, as it says right there, it depends on what you can do and if you can do it better than a Dane. So, yeah, you can't move there and work at McDonald's unless you marry somebody who's Danish. You can get in that way. Or you maybe, but if you're from the United States, don't think you're going to go over there and work at McDonald's. They're not going to let you in. Oh, wait a minute. That's not acting very nice. What about equal opportunities? No. Not in Denmark. Unless you're a Dane. If you're a Dane, great. Can you buy a house there? Well, as long as you get permission. Oh, from the government. Wow. So you certainly can't go there unless you have some sort of skill that they need, or you're a political refugee, blah, 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 which they don't allow from the United States. So, okay. So you can't move there unless you've got some sort of skill. Let's see here. Percentage of taxes. 55% personal income. 25% sales tax. They're subsidized. It's easy to make these kind of like sweetheart deals for like a McDonald's worker when everything's subsidized by the government because you're turning over all of your money. If your personal income tax rate is 55% and you're making $22 an hour, yeah, they give you a lot for your taxes, but it's not your choice. You have to pay the government and they assign you things. But $22 an hour at that tax rate, it's $11. And then look at the sales tax rate. So yeah, it's expensive there. I'm getting into some of the favorites. They got rid of the Indian and kept the land all American. If you are easily offended, you are easily manipulated. Words to live by. I love this one. This came up on somebody's Hulu. Who killed Jeffrey Epstein? And then right next to it is the show Hillary. Oh, man. I don't know. If that's real, even if it's not, it's funny. Right here, Burgess Owens, black man. I use my ID to drive a car, to get a job, to board a plane, pick up prescriptions, and virtually everything else. So tell me again, why is showing an ID voter suppression? Because the Democrats lie. They lie, and they manipulate the very same people they're trying to help, or say they're trying to help. Remember, to pay your taxes, other countries are depending on you. Man. Hey, we get to the end here. And it's from a guy named Rico. I love his icon. Deadpool. Yeah. Gas and food prices got me like, it's the bat symbol calling for Trump. And I don't know what's going to happen with Trump. I don't know. But you guys who are on the left, you got to look at the end result of all of this. They're still rioting in Portland. You know that. Nothing's gotten better. It's gotten worse. It's just bottom line. I've never, as long as I've lived in California, I've never heard of an SUV barreling through the desert, going through the wall, ending up on the freeway, and 13 people. 25 people were packed in there. This is not right. But one of these days, one of the videos I want to do is why we can't fix Mexico. And, I mean, obviously, if we fix some of these countries, we wouldn't have these problems at the border. And a lot of it comes from corruption. And right now, the people in power are corrupt. And you need to see that. You need to see that you're being bamboozled. You need to see that they're selling you a pack of lies. Think about things. Try to imagine a world where every night the 10 million people live in Los Angeles. I don't know how many cars there are. Let's say 4 million. 4 million vehicles. Personal, and then however many more commercial, like say an Amazon delivery van, are going to get plugged in every night. How's it going to work out? How? Think about something for a second. Right now, I have 3 cars. One of them is a work vehicle. Okay, one car is behind a gate near an outlet, which with an inverter and all that, I could charge it. The other one sits out on my driveway, and the other one is way over here in the cul-de-sac. How do you charge all those vehicles? What's the mechanization? There's only so much you can do with electricity. There's certain rules to electricity. And one thing, the more you put through it, the faster you put it through it, the more dangerous it becomes. Just like liberal policies. They become dangerous. It's a slippery slope, and y'all have already pushed the barrel. So, have fun. This is the mess you've made. Copious out.